All right. So, any scholars that you would like to talk about before we get engaged? Engaged. That sounds serious. Huh? All right.
I'd love to add one scholar, if you would please. Many people aren't aware of him. He has been the foremost African futurist, scientific futurist of our generation. Unfortunately, he died about 3 years ago. I was not necessarily under his tutelage. He had an institute at Harvard University that he ran, Dr. Callistus Juma of Kenya.
I never heard of him. Not familiar with him.
One of the brilliant minds of a generation. We would rank him on the level of a Sheikh Anta Diop.
Wow.
And of the numerous books he wrote, his best well-known book called The New Harvest. And for me, he was very, very special. He and I communicated a couple of times, never met. The New Harvest, Agricultural Innovation in Africa. But if you look at African scholars of the 20th century, you'll see him showing up, speaking at all of the major African sovereign development conferences.
All right. So, could you put his name in the chat?
I would be honored, and I'll put up a link so people can see a bio on Dr. Callistus Juma.
Please. Yeah, that's amazing. All right. So, any other scholars? I see Marimba Ani's name has been entered. Great scholar. Actually, I have a picture. I have a picture of her, Brother Sebastian. And but I just just trying to get everybody in. Let me just play this video. I made this back a while, and it has a number of scholars, but like we said, just can't get everybody in.
black my story. Not his story. A black my story. I and I story. Black my story. Not his story. Black I story. The black man story.
More knowledge, seek and ye shall find. That's the cry from Maccabee. Time to increase your mental capacity. Yes, Rose, time to teach you the truth. It's all about more knowledge. Yes, people just come in our college. Get some information in your forehead. It's all about more knowledge. More knowledge. We call it more knowledge. Yes, people just come in our college. Get some information in your forehead. It's all about more knowledge. More knowledge. Say more fire, it could be purification. But for burn the fire right, you need some education. You need knowledge, knowledge and the wisdom. For mental emancipation. It's the only real form of liberation. The more things you know, the more things you overstand. And you know we've been ignorant for too long. So people, help me sing this song. It's all about more knowledge. Yes, people just come in our college. Get some information in your forehead. It's all about more knowledge. More knowledge. We call it more knowledge. Yes, people just come in our college. Get some information in your forehead. It's all about more knowledge. More knowledge. If you go in the doctor's surgery and say, doctor, something's wrong with me, the first thing the doctor will do is take out your medical history. The doctor use the past to cure the present, every future, can't you see? Knowledge is power, me say knowledge is the key. Knowledge is the only way to set yourself free and cure the problems in the community. It's all about more knowledge. Yes, people just come in our college. Get some information in your forehead. It's all about more knowledge. I've been to the Rasta University and got my degree. Got my Rasta man diploma, Rasta GCSE. I take all of my subjects very seriously. Me head teacher named King Selassie. It's all about more knowledge. Yes, people just come in our college. Get some information in your forehead. It's all about more knowledge. More knowledge. The youths need knowledge and them we have to give. Show them they don't have to live the life that them a live. There is another road, another alternative. Let go negative and start think positive. Say more knowledge. It's not like a school exam. More knowledge. That's only memorization. More knowledge. Knowledge of the Almighty One. More knowledge. In a knowledge and meditation. More knowledge. Nice to know what's really going on. More.
So, Katie, do you like Maccabee?
Yes, man. Yes, man. You stirring up those memories. Don't get started now. You know we can't stop.
Yeah, Maccabee's like one of my favorite. I mean, you know, yeah. Anyway, so how's everybody? Sister Zarita is here. Oh, Mama Fania is with us. All right, give thanks. And
Blessing.
blessed love. Let's see. Some things are in the chat. All right. Thank you, Bill and Kitty, for putting those things in the chat. That's a new scholar. I never heard of. Never. That's why we have these. You know, that's wow. That's great. I'm cooking some food downstairs. I hear my thing going off, my timer going off. Let me just step away. Talks amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
I wonder what he's cooking.
Good question.
Say Kitty's talking, but
Yeah,
nobody.
we can't hear you if you're talking, Baba Kitty. because you're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay, yeah, as I was sharing, I showed this panel. Can you see this panel on the screen? And this is what has got us really excited that, bear with it. This is what a map of the African continent by the end of this decade is expected to look like, with these three new integrated regions moving toward federation. The one furthest developed along, we've talked about it frequently, the East African Community, expected to complete their federation by 2027. The Southern African Regional Strategic Indicative Development Plan expected to be completed by 2030, and could be that the first of these three to actually align their nations together into one formal bloc would be the Alliance of Sahel states, which includes 5 states, but 3 of them, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, are really planning on integrating so as to defend themselves against the West. So we've often talked about United States of Africa. I'm doing my best to show everybody it is happening, and this is what it's starting to look like. This is very exciting.
Wow. All right, we need to really need to familiarize ourselves with that subject. Okay, what am I cooking? I don't want to say because we have a health expert on. But occasionally I like baked potatoes, and that's what I'm doing. I'm baking some potatoes, and then Doris is gonna cook some halibut. We got a couple of halibut things and asparagus. So that's what I'm having today. It's not the healthiest thing, but you know, there was a lady at Wosay in the early days. Her name was Brady Daniels, and this is probably before you came, Fania. I see you looking. You know, this is probably before. I don't see anybody on here that would remember Brady. This is Oakland. So it was when Van Dien Philippot was there, and different people like that. So anyway, Brady had asthma. She had a cigarette in one hand sometimes and an atomizer in the other. And back then I had this Mercury Marquise, and it was so we had different circles. I could get just about the whole Kujichagulia circle in my car. You know, it was you put the armrests up, and you get anyway. So that's what I'm doing. I'm eating. I don't eat any red meat, but I do eat poultry, and even though I know that's not the most healthiest thing either, but I also take Dr. Sebi's products. I'm taking Drink Electra, and you take that Drink Electra, you'd be surprised what comes out of you. You know, just I'll just say that. All right. Okay. Now back to our subject. Just so you know. Hey, Tony, how are you? I saw your note. So is everything on the one? You're muted.
I think so.
You want to share your
Okay, let me see. I
Okay.
haven't shared anything in a long time.
all right.
So
Let me
what
just
do I
say,
need?
Tony has been compiling a list of books and authors for about a year now, and so I asked her to be a part of it. Brother Damani, I put a book in here particularly for you. It's written by Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. All right, here we go.
Do y'all see it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, there's something in the middle of it. Do you see that too?
I saw the hand.
Oh no, there's a band or something right here in the middle. I don't know how to get
Oh,
rid of.
we don't see it.
Oh,
You
okay.
just see the title and author. So we
Okay.
see 3 books by Dr. Amos Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
African-Centered Consciousness versus the New World Order, Blueprint for Black Power. Minister Alicia, many years ago now, led a study on Blueprint for Black Power. That's like a 400, 500-page book. That's a big book.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I still have a lot of books to add. I
Mhm.
still have a lot of books to add. And the way it's set up is they're coded because Sister Doris had asked me to situate it so that it's like at levels. So some of them are labeled beginner,
Mhm. Mhm.
some of them are labeled required,
Mhm.
sacred. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna be
Well,
quiet.
now I like what you did. So let's just at number 2 here, it says beginner. This is a really good book for beginners. Now Valley Contribution to Civilization, Anthony Browder. That is a really good book. And right when he released it, he came to WOSE. That was like in 93, something like around that time. He came and presented. And he was here in Sacramento a couple of years ago at the African Marketplace. So that,
It also has a workbook to go with it as well.
yes, yes. And when he wrote that book, his daughter Atlantis was like 12, and now she's like in her 30s. Yeah, she's a grown woman now. The Maroon Within Us is a really good book. Anything by Asa Hilliard is going to be good. And of course, okay. Oh, you have How to Know God. That's a really good book. It's not by an African, but if you want to know about yoga, and these sutras were written in the 2nd century BC. Really, really good book, How to Know God. There are many versions of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, but I particularly like the one by Christopher Isherwood and that Swami that I can't pronounce his name. All right.
And I know there's some books on there from Dr. Keaty too.
Let's go to Dr. Keaty. Let's scroll down and see Dr. Keaty here. That's fine because we're adding Dr. Keaty. We had him on. We showed some of his books just before you came in. Pause right there with Van Sertima. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. How many had ever gotten a chance to see a lecture live and in person by Dr. Van Sertima? Dr. Van Sertima, Saraswati, you
in Florida, when I was living in Florida.
is that right? Is that right? Dr. Van Sertima, he had this he was like about 6'4", and he had this kind of like high-pitched voice. He was from Guyana, so he had this accent. And I mean, he was just such a scholar. And the first book that I know about that he wrote was They Came Before Columbus, The African Presence in Ancient America. And, he just wanted to make sure that he got his facts right. And then he started the journal. Uh-oh, something happened. Go back. Anyway, he started the journal. What happened? All right. Anyway, I know that list is coming along great. I saw enough to know that you're doing a great job compiling that list. And the thing about it is, when you're doing this, African scholars, it's hard to get everybody in. You know, it's hard to get I'm gonna stop your screen from sharing, and I'm gonna let you get that together, and I'm gonna go into what I have. And it was kind of rushed, but gonna try to get it for you. Okay, here we go. Let's see. So, African scholars, we're going to talk about, did I spell that right? I'm such a terrible speller. I really am. I think I did. When I was growing up in the Bay Area, there was the Soul station on AM was called KDIA, and it was 1310. I could hear it now, KDIA, Lucky 13. And the talk show was done by this brother by the name of Donald Warden. And then in 1975, he was an attorney, and he became the attorney for the Saudis during the oil embargo. And he changed his name to Khalid Abdullah Tariq El Mansour. And he would come on the radio like on Sunday afternoons, sometimes Saturday evenings. And he also had a TV show called Black Dignity that came on Channel 7 on Sunday afternoons. And Dr. Chancellor Williams, Destruction of Black Civilization. What was the other book that he wrote, Brother Damani?
The other book was The Rebirth of Black Civilization.
The Rebirth of Black Civilization.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know. Okay.
For some reason, I thought you did. I didn't mean to just call you out just randomly. I thought, for some reason, I thought you knew. Yeah, the rebirth of, it was the rebirth of civilization, wasn't it?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was not widely read.
No, I have it I have it on my bookshelf in the other room right now. Yeah. And of course, Professor George G.M. James and Stolen Legacy. This book was obscured. It was written in 1954. Dr. Asa Hilliard was in a historically Black college president's office, and he looked over and he saw this book, and he brought it out of obscurity and republished it through Richardson Press, Marcus Bookstore, and it came out. It was reissued in 1976, and now there are a lot of different versions. Professor Manu Ampim has a version of Stolen Legacy, and you can actually get a PDF version online. If you typed in Stolen Legacy PDF, you can find an online version of that. And here's Dr. Hilliard, Dr. Asa G. Hilliard, one of the premier scholars of African-centered thought. When I met him, he was the Dean of Education at San Francisco State, and then he became a Fulbright scholar, and he went to Atlanta, and I forget which university he was at there. He went to Ghana and was given the name Nana for somebody help me out, Aman Kawatia II. But anyway, great scholar. And the author of our holy book, 2000 Seasons, Ayikwe Arma. You know, 2000 Seasons is such a profound book. And when I read other authors and they're interpreting it, you know, they include it in their works. Ayikwe Arma was a visiting professor at UC Berkeley in the 90s, and he was teaching a Medu Neter class. And I believe Baba Gregg and others were attending that class, and they told him, you know, we, at our church, we use your book as a holy book. And he, you know, he kind of stepped back and he says, I don't write holy books. And then, you know, they explained to him what we were doing. And then he came to our anniversary, and he was the keynote speaker. That was in December 1990. He's written a lot of books, including this book that I really like, The Eloquence of the Scribes, a memoir on the sources and resources of African literature. And he's written these two books, and they're in like several different languages. Actually, I have another PowerPoint that has, let's see, I think this is it. Yeah. These are the languages that book is in. So Instructions of Ptahhotep. This is like one of the oldest books in the world. He has it translated in Akan, Arabic, Bambara, English, French, Hausa, Kikongo, Kiswahili, Portuguese, Pular. I'm not sure, Pular, where is that located? Wolof, Yoruba, and Zulu. Anybody know? Pular? I think it's an African language. And then he has this other book. This is the Eloquent Peasant, or the Book of Kun Ampu in our Hosea. And again, he has it in all these different languages: Akan, Bambara, English, French, Hausa, Kikongo, Kiswahili, Lingala. That's in the Congo. I believe that's Dr. Obenga's native tongue, Lingala. Portuguese, Pular again.
And Pular is the largest spoken language in Guinea,
Is that right?
in Guinea-Bissau.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, this is a, you know, great book. I used to read comic books, and I found this one, Black Panther, The Ultimate Guide. I think that's it. All right. Anyway, let me get back to what we were looking at. I think we left off here. Any questions? Somebody put something in the chat. Let me look at that. Let's see. Oh, thank you. All right. So Minister Bill, put that in. Everybody see that? Wonder what it sounds like. Anyway, let's continue. All right, and Dr. Malana Karinga. You know, Dr. Karinga just called me out of the blue a couple of weeks ago. I thought he was calling because I had left a message on his phone telling him happy birthday. His birthday is on July 14th. And he hadn't heard that, but he just called me out the blue and said, we need to get together and to maintain our contact. Anyway, he's a very prolific writer. The Hosea, which we use for for one of our holy books. It's actually the main holy book. And of course, he's the author of the African American holiday Kwanzaa. Has a really good book, the Book of the Coming Forth by Day. This book is like about 400 or 500 pages. The book on Mott has one Odu Ifa. And Dr. Ben. I think Dr. Ben is probably the best. He was the best ambassador for African-centered thought. Dr. Ben could talk for 2 hours straight, and you wouldn't, you'd be glued on every word. You know, he was irreverent, he was scholarly. Sometimes he would borderline on being vulgar, but he was always interesting. And we had him at our church, Wose Community, in 1982, March 6, 1982. And I believe that put Wose on the map as far as like African-centered people in our community, because we had almost 350 people that night when Dr. Ben came, and we had ancestral wisdom and Celestial Lions reggae band there. Dr. Ben, one of my favorite books of his is Black Man of the Nile and His Family. I think We the Black Jews was one of his first books. African Origin of Major Western Religions, The Need for a Black Bible, Africa, Mother of Western Civilization, The Myth of Genesis and Exodus. And here he is. Now, him and Dr. Clark were really close friends. And when I went to Kemet the first time, it was on Dr. Ben's trip. This was in 1981. And Dr. Clark was there. And it was like about 106 African Americans from all around the world, all around the country, all over the country. And Astro Kwesi, that was his first time. And after each exhibit, they would both sit down, you know, we'd go back to the hotel and lobby, and then they would compare notes. They were really good friends, and really kept the African-centered thought scholarly and alive in the memories of and minds of our people. Now, how many are from? Let me pause here. How many got to see Dr. Frances Welsing? Ever get you guys? Dr. Welsing, wow, she was something. You know, she was intimidating. Like you'd see her on PBS, and she'd be talking to racists. Because she was a psychiatrist, she would just have them. You know, they couldn't do anything with her. What'd you say, Sugar D? What'd you say? Take yourself off mute. I can't even say.
I said she had them for lunch, didn't she?
She did. She was, yeah. But you know, she's a very nice and kind person. You know, if you talk to her, you know, you could go to lunch with her. I never did this, but I mean, you know, you could go. She was just a really irie person. Just really nice. What were your experiences, Saraswati? You said you saw her. Go ahead.
You know, it was that big event that they had in Sacramento. It was really the first time.
Oh yes, That time that the roof, the air conditioner was going and the roof started leaking. Is that one?
No. It was a huge event that was put on by the African Americans for Balanced Health. Weren't they the ones that did that? And they also had the person who came in and did the one about trauma.
Joy DeGruy, and it was.
They were both there at the same time. It was an amazing experience, but it's also the first time I saw you, and you did. You were doing a libation. This is the first time I saw a libation. So
you know what? I don't even remember doing that. Thank you.
There were people dancing up front. It was really quite the experience. It was huge. It was really well attended. So yeah.
Dr. Welsing. I'm trying to remember who this racist was that she would debate. It would be on PBS. It was somebody that was real, like he was the one of the leading scholarly racists at the time. Shockley. She would debate him, and she would, yeah. Dr. Welsing.
William Shockley.
Yeah, William Shockley. Yeah, she was. I love Dr. Welsing. I was really sorry when she passed. She's really, really great person. Anything else we want to go ahead, Damani?
I was saying, Dr. Wesson, we got to remember what she said about genetic annihilation is why they do what they do, because of the fear of genetic annihilation. Yeah, that's all.
You know what? And after you understand that then okay, it makes sense. You know, her and Neely Fuller put that together. You know, it's because of fear of genetic annihilation. That's why that Supreme Court decision about abortion, you know, they said, hey, our numbers aren't keeping up with the with the people of color.
Exactly.
That's you know, and that's when you know that, then okay, it all makes sense. Otherwise, you're just like, really, why did they do that? You know, it's just really all right. Any other? I'm looking for feedback. I don't want to just be the only one talking. Go ahead. Go ahead and give me some more observations. Who are your scholars?
If I could, just one moment, you were talking about Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark. I had the wonderful pleasure, because I was so deeply involved with the African study groups that were based in Southern California, to actually be around them quite a bit. And then I started writing books and got a chance to travel to New York, which was their home base.
Oh, wow.
There was the Slave Theater, if anybody can remember those days. Minister Clemson Brown produced so many of our great videos from the Slave Theater. I got a chance to take that stage 2 times to an audience of about 600 Pan-Africans in the audience. That was quite stunning.
Wow.
And then later, they moved their lectures to the Oberian Dempsey Center in Harlem. And I'll never forget, I think it was the first time I spoke at the Oberian Dempsey Center. And I look into the audience, and the classroom had about 25, 30, 35 people in it. In the classroom, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries,
Wow.
Dr. Lynn Jeffries,
Wow.
Kaba Kamene, and Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen all came out to see me
And they
do the presentation.
Oh, whoa.
That was a very humbling moment. And at a certain point, you start to realize that, yes, I do belong to this circle of generational scholars. And it was almost like an anointing. And it was a very proud moment.
You know, when I went to Kemet the first time, Leonard Jeffries was on that trip, and so was Astra Kwesi. That was before Astra started speaking or anything. And that was and then I want to say it happened in 88, either 87 or 88. 1,000 people from all around the country went to Kemet. It was like a big conference there then.
In fact, that was the ASCAC conference that took place there.
That's what that was. Yeah, the ASCAC conference. I didn't get a chance to go, but I know that Mahib, there was a lot of people from Wosay, Oakland, that went to went on that one. That was a big deal. 1,000 people showing up in Kemet. right, I'm going to get back to Dr. Wilson. So she wrote the ISIS papers, and in the ISIS papers, she has the 10 stops. And the 10 stops, I think between her and Neely Fuller, they put together what's called the 10 stops. You know, stop stealing, stop killing, stop lying. You know, that's just how we should act among each other. Here he is, Dr. Van Sertima. And Dr. Van Sertima always looked like he was ready to go down for a fight. You know, I think because he was a professor at Rutgers, and people were always challenging his works. And he looked like you know, like sometimes if you said the wrong thing, like he might jump on you. That was a feeling I got. And this was like the first ASCET conference. Maybe you were there, Keaty. This was in 1984. A lot of people from WOSE went to that. It was when the Husserl was introduced. And there was a scholar there, his name was Professor Jones. And he was saying some things like the Greeks were Black and the Romans were Black. And so it was like 300 or 400 people in that auditorium. And Dr. Van Sertima was in the back heckling him, yelling at him. And then Dr. Ben was on the other side doing the same thing. They were both heckling. And at that time, they both didn't like each other. And we as students, you know, it was like we were caught between our parents. You know, who should we side with? Anyway, I've seen like a lot of scholars that get real fiery. Dr. Ben was real fiery, and Dr. Van Sertima was too. All right, and from that, from the scholarship and leadership of Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, he took a couple of brothers under his wing, and one of them was Runoko Rashidi. And Runoko, first he wrote, he edited one of the Journal of African Civilizations, the one on African presence in early Asia. And subsequent to that, he was able to put together these different works. And Runoko was just not only a great scholar, but he was a down brother. And every time he came in town, he would stay at our house, and you know, I would take off the next day, and we would hang out. Just a great person. And along with Wayne Chandler. And Wayne Chandler had articles in the Journal of African Civilization.
Mr. Imhotep, we go back to Dr. Rashidi, Runoko Rashidi.
Yes.
One thing that I appreciated about him is that I've heard him speak, you know, numerous times. He's been to the Bay Area a lot, and he always gave credit to the African woman.
Yes.
A lot of, well, I'm not going to say a lot. Some of our male scholars, you know, don't mention the contributions and the intelligence and the work of African women. But Dr. Runoko Rashidi always gave us our props. I really appreciate that about him.
All the time.
All the time.
He kind of took after Dr. Ben in that respect.
Phrased in a different way.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you. That's right. He would. And Wayne Chandler, again, we would have them come and speak locally, and you know, they would stay at our house, and we would hang out, and I got to know them. And few years later, he wrote this great work, which I think they're studying now in the morning on Sundays, we'll say at 9, Ancient Future. Really a great work, Ancient Future. And Van Sertima was very proud of, Dr. Van Sertima was very proud of Wayne and Runoko. Now, he's known as the Pharaoh of Antiquity, Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop, from Senegal, one of the premier scholars. He's noted for going to the UNESCO conference in 1974 and turning it out. And ever since that time, scholars couldn't just, repeat their cliches about, the Egyptians being white and stuff. He had a whole systematic way of doing it. And one of them was the melanin dosage test. And here he had a laboratory and did a lot of works. These are some of his books. This is the first one that I was familiar with, African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality. Dr. Oba Tashaka had a class where he taught this book and Destruction of Black Civilization simultaneously. And he wrote Pre-Colonial Black Africa, Cultural Unity of Black Africa, where he shows the cultural unity among the various tribal and ethnic groups in Africa and their connection to ancient Kemet. Civilization or Barbarism is known as his crowning work. And this is a great work. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Kitty. Black Africa, the Economic and Cultural Basis for a Federal State.
That is my Bible.
All right. All right. Yes. Yes. That is a great work. All right, Damani, I put this in for you. You were talking one of our classes, and I actually gave the wrong author. I said Diop, but really it was Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is the first president of Ghana, and he wrote this book, Handbook of Revolutionary Warfare. It's a guide for revolutionary warfare. You've heard of the All African People's Revolutionary Party? Well, he's the founder of the All African People's Revolutionary Party. And these are some of the tactics that he used to liberate Ghana.
Yeah, I got to get that book.
Yeah. It's not that much. I forgot what the cost was, but when I looked at it, it wasn't that much. So he exposes both the external and internal enemies who are insidiously thwarting the aspirations of African people. These neo-colonialists and counter-revolutionary elements are, in essence, part of the same power structure which confronts revolutionary forces in Latin America, Asia, and elsewhere. So it's very revolutionary. He also wrote other books, Consensusism, and his autobiography. But I put this in especially for you, Damani. I knew you would like this book. Okay, this is a famous author, Arthur Schomburg. And he has a bibliography of Black authors. And my mother introduced me to this book when I was in the 3rd grade, Miseducation of the Negro. And he was such a, I don't know what the word is. Well, I mean, just starting Negro History Week is why we have Black History Month today, African History Month today, because of the work. He has a 66-volume work. Of course, he wrote Miseducation of the Negro. It's another great professor. People don't really talk a lot about him, but he was a great architect for America's African Studies Department, Professor Leo Hansberry.
Runoko Rashidi did a lot of instructing about the value of Leo Hansberry's work.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, these are books that you should get. You know, I don't know when you're going to get around to reading them, but you would benefit by that. You would benefit by passing these titles, these authors on to your children, or just children that you come in contact with, your grandchildren, etc. And this is a Kaba Kamene put this one together on Professor Leo Hansberry. Now, this lady, Priscilla Dungy Houston, wrote this book, Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire, another important book. It was originally published in 1926. And Asa Hilliard, again, he's the one that introduced this book, you know, in his lectures and when he would talk, Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire. And Kaba Kabene, it's written, this book on the Shabaka Stone, Spirituality Before Religions, Carbon Before Melanin, Shaka Stone for Children's Book, An African Star Story, has a study guide. We've had him on Black Knowledge Matters a few times. He's always been good. Now, Minister Alicia, I know, does Egyptian yoga. And one of the early pioneers of Egyptian yoga is this brother, Dr. Mawada Ashby, and his wife, Dr. Dejah Ashby. And he's written, you know, many books on Egyptian yoga. I think that's all I have right now. So it's 6:04. And so the floor is open. Were those books, did you find those books interesting? Many of you are probably already familiar with the books, etc., right? Alicia, you're Mawada Ashby, go ahead. I know you have something.
Yeah, I do appreciate you going over you know, the ones who have put out books and things for us, because there's a lot of there's a couple of books in there that I was thinking about getting. I do have a few of Mawada Ashby's books. I really enjoy them. I really feel like, I think we had this discussion before, they're kind of for like the teachers, you know, those are books for like, you know, the teachers, the master teachers, but you know, anyone can get them and do these things, but they're very they're involved, even though they're small, like they're not 500 pages long or anything like that. And he has a whole lot of them. So, and there's a lot of interesting information in each one. He has pictures and things like that if people learn better that way. And there's lots of things that you can do within his works, because like within the I think I'm looking at the movement of the Africans, well, it shows different postures and things like that. He'll give you little meditations that you can do. And and show you, you know, the different postures and show and break down certain things within those books. So those are very good for learning about yoga. And he doesn't just talk about, you know, Kemetic. He will put in kind of connect it to what we might be hearing commonly with the Indian information as well. So you'll kind of get a bridge to understanding information from the Kemetic side as well as the mainstream type things that you might hear. And he also gave us, which was very interesting to me, he also gives us like different names for the chakras, the Kemetic names for the chakras, or what he says is the Kemetic names for the chakras, which is an interesting thing as well that I'm checking out. So he does have a lot of books. So yeah.
Yeah.
I would add to that, it is believed that Dr. Muwada Ashby is the most published African-centered nonfiction writer of our generation.
Is that right?
Yeah, I started bragging that I was one of the most, and one of my friends reminded me, "You're doing good. That's why you look up to Muwada Ashby." And I think he's got about 70 books in publication.
Right.
He's just an absolute brilliant brother, very sensitive and you know, nurturing personality. We can't say enough about these great scholars. I would like to add, and I just posted up in the chat, one that we haven't mentioned today, who merits our support, and that's Dr. Ishakamusa Barashango, author of a number of books, including African People and European Holidays, A Mental Genocide, volumes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
African Woman, the Original Guardian Angel.
Yeah.
African People, oh no, that's the same. God, the Bible, and the Black Man's Destiny, and African Genesis, Amazing Stories of Man's Beginning. Ishaka Musa Barashango was not only a brilliant scholar, but everyone who ever met him, including myself, always said he's one of the great gentlemen of our race.
Wow. You know, for those of you, will say, Baba Tai used to attend, I've been pronounced his name Ishakamusa. It's Ishakamusa.
Yes.
Ishakamusa's,
of course, you're Jamaican. You know, you got your Jamaican attitude. It's Ishakamusa.
Right. So I saw the I just put it there. But Baba Tyehimba used to go to his church. He's from Washington, D.C. And before he came to Wose, he was a member of Reverend Barashango's church. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, like I said, there's so many. There are just so many authors and books out there. What is the most important book? If anybody would like to, what book had the most influence on you? What book, what author had the most influence, positive influence on you? Anyone?
For me, well, two people. Dr. Shayon Dejoe for me. Oh gosh, now you're gonna get me doing the Dr. Shayon Dejoe for me. Dr. Clarence Williams and Dr. Francis Cresswell's and Ashe on all their names. So some words that stick out for me with Dr. Shayon Dejoe is the continuity of Africa. He just broke that nonsense about Africa's fragmentation and the connection between the continent and its people. That's big. Dr. Chancellor Williams, the words that stick in my mind, my brain, my heart, when he's testing the genius, what we're going through, it will test the genius of the race. And that just sticks with me. And another statement he made in his book, he said, it's going to be a time where everybody's going to be claiming they're African. And then Dr. Cress Welsing, when she stated as a psychiatrist, she gave a medical clinical assessment of the behavior of the European paradigm when she talked about their fear, their paranoia of genetic annihilation. And the way she broke it down was just beautifully done. So that stays with me. There's so many that we have shared, that you've shared, Minister Imhotep. It just says I need to do a lot more reading. Ashe.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. That's you know, we're all like that. We're all we're all just like you. Anyone else? What book, what author had a strong positive influence on you? Anyone?
I would volunteer. I could go on and on. I have a pretty extensive bookshelf. Randall Robinson, I don't think should be overlooked for his contributions. Professor Mano Ampem, who is an extension of this very community here, brilliant scholar. His book, Toward Black Community Development, is one of my fundamentals. But I think if there were anyone...
Have you all ever met? Seems like you got...
Oh, Mano Ampem and I met. Oh, he's got a great story to tell about me hosting him at a live radio broadcast in Southern California. I'll let him tell the story, but when the story finished, no one got shot. No one got shot that day. And that was a good day. But I would also add, for me, it's really, there are so many great ones. A toss up between, I think, my left hand and right hand, whichever hand is which, would be Dr. Amos Wilson and Dr. John Henry Clark.
I would have loved to have met Dr. Wilson.
I don't think he ever traveled to the West Coast. I've never heard anyone say they saw him on the West Coast.
You know, have you seen those? You know, I can look it up, or perhaps somebody. There's like these little cartoons, and they're like about maybe 5 minutes long, and they'll be like Dr. Amos Wilson speaking. Have you ever seen those? You know, and he's Dr. Amos Wilson would just say things that are just so, I don't know, just they make so much sense. They're just so practical, and anyway, I hate that Dr. Amos Wilson passed away before I got a chance to meet him. I have some pictures to share. I want to thank Brother Sebastian. That's when Dr. Welsing was here in Sacramento. And this is his son, Darius, with Dr. Welsing and Dr. DeGrew. That was a great day. Thank you and he put those in the chat. And then I have this picture. My father came that day. That's my dad. And there he is talking to Dr. Welsing. They're around the same age. And looks like me and Bertha, you know, crashed this picture. What do they call that?
Photo bombing.
Yeah, we photobombed. But here is Bertha Rose. She's now living in Atlanta, but she used to live here, and was original member in Sacramento. And here we are. We crashed Dr. DeGrew and Dr. Welsing.
Yeah, I raised the money that brought her to town that day through the bingo. And Minister Emerson, I'm holding a picture of you in the background. You, Sister Bianca, I mean, this is a picture of Dr. Joy DeGruy,
Hold on, let me see.
Dr. Joy DeGruy, Sister Bianca, and Dr. Francois, was it? And you sitting in the background
Oh,
back there.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, we need to bring some of those scholars to town. It'd be a good fundraiser because we sold tickets for $40. About 300 people showed up, and so we raised like $12,500, and the expenses was $800. I mean $8,000. So we cleared $4,500. That was an excellent fundraiser, bringing a scholar of that caliber to town. Yeah,
I would like to have Dr. DeGruy to come back. That would be. I
yeah,
really enjoy.
Dr.
I like her book as well. I don't know if you all have read her
Yeah, I
book,
think
but
Dr. Marimba Ani would bring a big crowd out too.
Oh, yes. Please get her here.
Yeah.
boy, I mean that would be like the holy grail if we got Marimba Ani. That would be. Whew.
Joy DeGruy is a good presenter also, though.
Yeah. What was that?
And if you could get Dr. Marimba Ani and Dr. Wade Nobles together at the same
yes.
gathering, I'll fly in for that.
Well, you know what? They African Americans for Balanced Health. They brought. It was.
Dr. Sabi.
Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Professor
Dr.
James Smalls and why can't I think of his name? I have his picture up here. I have his picture.
And you just mentioned his name, Dr.
Wade
from the Bay Area.
Wade Nobles.
Wade Nobles, yeah.
They had Dr. Sabi and Dr. Africa also.
Yeah. This was the day that Dr. Nobles and so when we had Len Jeffries a long time ago, like in the 90s, like 92, he was going through all this stuff and there was death threats, and Dr. Smalls joined him, and that's how we got to meet him, and he was his bodyguard.
That's
and Wade Nobles, I first met him as a professor at San Francisco State, and he wrote Seeking the Saku.
That's a powerful picture.
And you know what? He was always like at Wosay, Oakland, like at the anniversary, he would be speaking. He would be one of the guests there. He was a very, very powerful speaker. Very, very, very brilliant man. Yeah.
They used to bring some really good speakers to the ASCAC conventions.
Yeah. This picture too. I like this picture too. And this medallion is what they were giving out. There was a group, I think they were mostly in the East Coast, and everyone that was in that group, they got these medallions. I'm so sorry I didn't get one.
Isn't that Kepera?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know if Kepera was the name of the group, but you know, a lot of people like Dr. Ben had one, John Henry Clark, a lot of people that were in the group.
Yeah, Kepera is a symbol of the morning sun that looks over the horizon, and therefore a symbol of high intellect.
Anyway, and there used to be this magazine. Remember this magazine, Emerge?
Oh yeah.
And there was Lynn on the cover. Yeah. And here he is with Dr. Wilson. There she is. All right. Well, we got about 10 minutes left. Hey, Brother Ali, glad you could join us today. Glad you're with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm traveling. I'm at a bookstore actually, and I just looked at the time, so I thought I'd tune in.
What bookstore are you at?
Beers Bookstore on what street is this? R Street.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a long time. Last time I went there it wasn't open. It was good to know that it's open. That's a really good bookstore. After Carol's bookstore closed, that's where I would go to bookstores here. All right.
Yeah, Rasul brought me over here.
Is he there?
Yes, he's here too.
How you doing, Minister Embletep?
Hey man, what's going on? You're on camera. Everybody's looking at your back.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. All right, great. Okay. Anything else?
I would like to offer a book. How many of us have ever heard of the book by George Schiller, I believe is the correct pronunciation of his name, called The Black World?
No.
It is a book of fiction here. Let me put up a link. It is a novel about, I think it's some 600 or so pages. No, 350 pages long. In this novel, Black people win everything. It was originally a serialized series in the Pittsburgh Courier beginning in 1936 called The Black World. And it's the most genius plan one could ever imagine of Black people militarily conquering the world.
Wow, I'm sure that's banned in Florida.
I have my copy. It's such a page turner that once you begin reading it, you cannot put it down.
Wow.
Hey, what's the name of that book again?
The book is called The Black World. Here, let me get this right here. 1 second, because I was referring to it today earlier in a conversation, and George Schiller is his name, and it's called Black Empire.
Black Empire.
It is gone out of copyright, so now it's being reproduced, and Penguin Classics has put it out relatively inexpensive. I'll put up that link on Amazon.com, even though I do not endorse them. They just make money off of me. But it's a great place to begin the research, and we can find other places to buy the books. But this book is relatively rare, and original prints of it. I have an original print of the book that can sell for in excess of $60 and up. But The Black Empire, it's an incredible tale. It's such a page turner. Once you start reading it, you cannot put it down. And because it was written as a serialized newspaper series that lasted for the course of 2 years, the chapters are not really long, but just absolutely well written, called Black Empire.
Wow. Okay, let's see. Did you put that in the chat?
Sure, I just put that in the chat.
That's it. All right. Great. Well, we got 5 minutes. Should we meet next week? Okay. Alicia said yes. All right. Okay. Mama Rose, what do you say?
I'm still here.
I love everyone that's on this screen, but if Mama Rose said don't do it, I'm not going to do it. You know.
Oh no, I'm not going to say anything.
Not going to get you in trouble.
Oh no, I'm in enough trouble as it is. No.
All right. Hey, Mona, are you there? Mona, are you there? Mama Mona,
I am here.
how are you? I haven't talked to you in so long.
Doing well. Thank you.
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, Tony, I want to thank you for sharing with us your book list. And I know you sent it to me once. Can you send it to me again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, I must have been in there messing around and deleted a bunch of people because I'm looking and I'm like, wait a minute, so-and-so's not there and so-and-so's not there. So I'm gonna have to go back and start, but yeah, thank you for reminding me that I'm working on that list because I have so many things that I'm doing and I forget. So I'm gonna make a commitment to finish it, at least finish it to the point where you can give it to the young lady that does the website and it can be posted there.
That's what I'd like to have that posted.
Mama Tony, you might have saved it under another name or saved it to another location. So before you
Yes, I have to look
stuff again, see if you can find it because it's not likely that you deleted it. You probably just put it somewhere else.
We saved it.
Yeah, often happens. So
yeah. All right. Well, we'll reconvene next week. You know what I did this month? I got confused. I know it's hard to believe that would ever happen, but I ended up doing SOS on the second Thursday instead of the first Thursday. And so what I'm suggesting is maybe we could do SOS on the fifth Sunday. Oh wow, that's a good picture. I just received this picture before we go. This is a good picture. Brother Sebastian and Brother Runoko Rashidi, Dr. Runoko Rashidi. I could hear Runoko now. Runoko would say things to me. I'm not going to say who he was talking about, but we were talking about somebody, and he said, and I was driving. I had this Plymouth Voyager, and I think we were going to the river. This was the day after he spoke, and he was talking about this guy, and he was saying, if so-and-so was walking right now, I would reach over and step my foot on your foot to run him over. I loved hanging out with Runoko. Yeah. Anyway, 6:29. I want to thank everyone for joining us. You know what? I made one more video today. I've just sometimes I get on these like somebody on Facebook will post something that would be really awful, and so I would have to respond to them. I really shouldn't. I really shouldn't. You're right, Sugar D. I shouldn't do it. But I made this video as a response to some people because they act like they don't know. People that act like what's they called? They're playing crazy. They put all this stuff about us.
They say Bob Marley's the king of rhythm.
And so usually when I put a video on, they don't really have a comeback other than that they might laugh, but they really can't address what I've said. So I'm looking for the video now. Let's see, hold on. Hold on just a second.
While you're looking for the video, I would just like to let everybody know that eventually we are going to be conducting a membership survey where we will update everybody's information, and that's just going to be coming any day now.
You know what? We talked about that last night, and I meant to send you a note. The Kepler group approved that. So I meant to send that to you last night, and I'm glad you sent. All right, hey. So I love this. This is. Did you ever listen to Sister Carol, Kitty? You know who that is? Kitty, are you still there?
Oh yeah, Sister Carol definitely was on our list. She didn't have a lot of hits, but a couple of things she did really had great impact.
I really like this one.
They say Bob Marley's the king of reggae, and they say Sparrow is the king of calypso. They say Calypso Rose is the queen of Calypso. But listen, people, this one is talking tempo. Get it straight, Africans, get it straight. You must get it straight, for we is great. You better get it straight, Africans, get it straight. All I must get it straight, for we is great. You can't tell I that I's of a third world country when I don't know I's African. Not only that I's of a first world country, but it was my poor parents them who brought forth civilization. One of the greatest things from the Almighty I know was the River Nile. It was the same river bank where Miriam did left baby Moses as a child. You didn't know, And Ramesses, Nefertiti, Tutankhamun and them, is I history does want to tilt and chat peer filled when you don't know how them mind-shocking pyramids was built. Just get it straight, Africans, get it straight. You must get it straight, for we is great. You better get it straight, Africans, get it straight. All you must get it straight, for we is great. Don't tell I a thing about royalty, cause I don't know His Majesty. Don't tell I a thing about Elizabeth or Victoria, cause they would have to repeat the works of Ninza, Cleopatra and Queen of Sheba, of which I know they can't. So people help me with the chant. You better get it straight, Africans, get it straight. You must get it straight, for we is great. Cause Jah loveth the gates of Zion more than all the dwelling places of Jacob. And glorious things have been spoken unto thee, O city of God, Selah. You better get it straight, Africans, get it straight. All you must get it straight, for we is great. You better get it straight, Africans, get it straight. You must get it straight, for we is great. And the riches that they did rob we is still sitting over there in Vatican City. So I know the walls of Rome will have to shake, either a volcanic eruption or a mystical earthquake. Get it straight.
All right, get it straight, Africans, get it straight. Get it straight, for we is great. All right, give thanks and praise. What'd you say? Say again. I don't know what you said.
2 more days, and I am retired, untired.
Wow. Oh. Oh, that great. Oh, wow.
Done.
Congratulations.
You said you're retiring?
Yes, untiring.
Oh, congratulations.
And I can still walk, talk, move.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
Boogaloo.
woo, woo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Children, I can't wait to change the yellow room to another color. I can't wait. Can't wait to take down Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I can't wait to take down the ABCs and the crib. I can't wait to take all that down. Woo! Thank you.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. I know that people are going to miss you though. They're going to say, would you open up again? I know no, you're already prepared for that. You're not gonna. Wow. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. Glad you all could join us. Save the chat. There's a lot of great stuff in the chat today. And well, it's time to go. Live up. See you next time. Oh, in-person service in Sacramento if you're near. So see, now that she's retired, she might surprise us and just show up. You just never know. So yeah, that's that. It's just like those earrings and at First Fridays, just all right. Glad you all could join us. Take care. Life, prosperity, and health. Live up.